When I first heard about Ubuntu, I didn't actually really believe in it because to me it just sounded very soft and very cuddly and very kumbaya and very like Bonnie and Friends type thing. So I never really got to like it from the first time I heard it because it's also a word like Ubuntu. Like, where do you hear that? You only hear it when someone wants to pacify people, like as if it's something that's only used as a tool to make people more docile. But when I started looking into it, I discovered that Ubuntu was one of the most crucial and original philosophies on earth. So I'm just gonna go over the different philosophies, which are two. So one of them is Western, the Western form of philosophy, and the other one is the African form of philosophy. My dictionary app, right? And the word philosophy is made up of philo, which is love, and sophy. All right. So philo means love, but then here we want to go over the latter part of the word, soph. Okay. So what is soph? All right. Let's just see what else is here. Soper, soap. All right. So soph. Soph is from sophomore. All right. And then sofa, sophine, sophinian, sophie, wise. So this is what we generally hear when we say philosophy, and then we also reach Sophia. And when we hear the word Sophia, it actually means a form of divine being in Gnostic tradition, but it's also a name that is used in Christianity. And this is also the root of Sonia, Sophie, all right? And Sophic. This is teaching wisdom, sophical. All right, so I'm just moving through my dictionary here. So now you get to the Greek origin of this word. This is also a number. Okay. So here it says a choice where Sophie's choice. All right, that's also like another play on the word. So there's so many different ways to interpret it. But here, Sophie, as you've seen, means a lot of different things. But here, when we landed this sophism, all right. So we see all of these forms of the words that we're just seeing so many different forms, right? And then it all comes down to this meaning here. So this is a method of teaching using the techniques of philosophy and rhetoric. This is what it is. Now, this actually means a flawed argument, superficially correct in its reasoning. So reasoning is the basis of Greek philosophy. It's usually designed to deceive, and this is actually called sophistry. And this is a whole branch of learning, just like chemistry, but this is sophistry. And then this is called an intentional fallacy. So fallacy means deceptive, false appearance, that which misleads the eye or the mind. Okay, this is what it means. Right, let's go back. I was at sophism. So it's an intentional fallacy, sophistic, fallacious reasoning, or argumentation. So this is what philosophy literally is, or sophism. So this is a part of the notion of reason, but then this reason is contaminated. All right, and now let's look at this word sophisticate. And this is a very interesting word, right? So to sophisticate, because this is how there are two different philosophies, and the basic philosophy of Ubuntu was kind of like sophisticated by the Greek philosophy through colonization. So to sophisticate is to make impure by admixture. So this is what it actually means in the dictionary. So this made us it made us wise, but in a worldly sense, not in a heavenly sense, because it was philosophy. All right. So this is to make less natural or innocent. So when we first were introduced to this Western philosophy, we had a different philosophy that was mixed and made our way of nature less, our innocence less. So this is sophistry, to change the meaning of, to be vague about in order to mislead or deceive, alter, make impure, as with the intention to deceive, to make more complex or refined. So this is what this is, to sophisticate, is something that's not genuine, not pure, adulterated. So the meaning of philosophy changed, and usually when people hear something to do with sophistication, they usually take it as a positive word. But in the dictionary or in reality, because the world is made with words, in reality, to sophisticate is to make something less pure, is to mix something. So the original philosophy before it was mixed was a form of Ubuntu that was beyond the world and beyond words, because it was done through the Hebrew practices, which was through the ether being the realm of the Levites, which is heaven. So it was more heavenly and less worldly. So the person who came from Ethiopia and went to see Moses to gain wisdom is a woman, and this woman has a name, and the name is only revealed, it's not revealed in the Bible. In the Bible, we know her as the queen of the blacks or the queen of the south, because Negeb means nigger. When they changed the name from Negev with a V, and then they changed it to Negev with a V, and then they later changed it to Niger with an R. And this person was like the queen of the niggers, and then she went on a path in order to find philosophy, and her name is Makeda. All right, Makeda, Queen Makeda, or the Queen of Sheba. So we'll talk about Sheba and philosophy in greater detail, because there are certain secrets of Sheba that I would like to share. But in terms of the philosophy of the Ubuntu, it was from the land of Put, and then it was also in different areas of the world. So when she was going to see King Solomon, what she did was to take a path, and that path was math, and that Makeda is mathema. So I'm not going to look at the meaning of her name, because we looked at the meaning of Sophia, which is the Western form of philosophy. But now I'm going to look at Makeda, which is the female name of the African or the Bantu type of philosophy, which is Makeda, aka Mathema. We have Google, because this name is an African name. It's not English, so you can hardly find it in the English dictionary. But here we go. Makeda is believed to be an Ethiopian name of the Queen of Sheba, referred to in the Bible. So when we go into this story, we're going to be talking about it in reference to the Bible. So we're going to be talking about Sheba. But right now, we're just talking about philosophy. We spoke about Sophia. Now we're talking about Makeda. So I want to see what's different. So the name means beautiful. Let's also see what else we can find. Greatness, that's what it means. Greatness, again, queen of greatness. Okay. So this word, Makeda, also is ma. All right, let me write it clearer. So this ma, okay, and this is K. All right, and as you know, the words just keep on changing. All right, and then this is ma from the first Makeda, mathema. All right. So this word, the breakdown of it is also about the the math, and the path. So let's go into the Bible for a bit. All right. So I'm here in the Bible because I feel like this also gives us the definition of wisdom. All right, and this is what we're looking for. So this is Proverbs chapter 8, verse 1, right? And then verse 1 and 2, it says, "Does not wisdom cry and understanding put forth her voice?" So there's this woman, and the embodiment of the woman is either in Sophia or either in Makeda. And then verse number 2, it says, "She stands at the top of the high places, by the way in the places of the paths." Okay. So when we look at the path in terms of in the verse in Proverbs, we see that it is a path. And the person who took this path is Makeda. Okay. So she made the journey. And there's also make in Makeda, and wisdom makes everything, right? But she took this journey, she took the path. So she is actually embodying this wisdom, this woman, this greatness, this beauty, right? And then she takes the path. So this ends up being the math, all right, or the theme of her path, that she was taking a calculated journey, making a calculated decision to go to Solomon. So the Queen of Sheba represents wisdom. And here we're having a philosophical conversation. So you have, or philosophical in quotes, but you have to be able to dissect the information in a philosophical way. And by philosophical, I mean a mathematical way, which is to say that you're doing it in a scientific way. So when we look at the origin of all mathematics in the world, it comes from Africa. That's the path it took. And this mathematics was taught to the Greeks by Egyptians and Sumerians, who were all from Africa, according to the Bible. So these Africans taught the Western people how to be scientifically minded, how to be mathematical, and then they used that, or they sophisticated what they were taught. And we've already gone through the notion of what sophistication is. So it's true that they sophisticated the knowledge, or they mixed the knowledge that they were taught. And the knowledge that they were taught was mathematics. So the Ubuntu philosophy, or African philosophy, and I'm using this term loosely so that we can speak the same language, right? But when we look at this Sophia, Sophism, Makeda, and Ubuntu, we see that the root of it was first of all mathematics, but then it was now mixed with what we now call reason. So now we're in the age of reason, which is the age of what we believe, or our judgment, or age. That's why we'll be judged in this age through that, you know what I mean? Because we are the ones who are reflecting the kingdom of God on the earth. So we're now in the age of reason. But our reason is not scientific, it's not sophisticated. Or if our science is there, the science is not based in Ubuntu. It's not based in it's sophisticated science, which is AI based science. So the people who first of all taught the pure science, the mathematical path of science, those people were Egyptians, Africans. Some of them were from all of them actually were from the south. They migrated north, started a kingdom in Egypt, and they started teaching what they cultivated as a culture. So philosophy was not like something you do on weekends, but it was a culture and an actual way of thinking. So it was the matter of all things. Matter is the math, Matter, matter. Okay, and this is also the mother of all knowledge. So you can't know anything if you don't know it through the language of God, which is mathematical. So that's the mother of all matters, because that's how we read Genesis We have to be able to count the 6 days of creation. And this is how we understand the seventh day. This is the day of the philosophy, because everything, all matters were completed. And now you're just taking interest or enter rest into the Sabbath on that day. Mathematically speaking, you have to count it. So it's also a philosophy. But this philosophy is a matrix, and matrix is made through numbers. If you've watched the movie Matrix, you see like it's all like when they look at the matrix, they look at a screen full of numbers, because that's the matter, that's the matrix, that is the Makeda, and that is the oracle, the black woman in the matrix, representing philosophy, prophecy, all different matters. So our matter is that we're supposed to be understanding the philosophy in its purest sense, which is Ubuntu philosophy, which is so simple because it just has one rule. Its simplicity is why people, or I even like was just like, this is just too simple, because we need something more complex. But we are becoming more sophisticated, which means that we complicate things more than we used to. So this is not actually wisdom, it's philosophy, or it's reason, or it's sophism. That's what it is. So we become sophomores, is in we become wise fools with the smartphone, right? Because we don't know the science, we don't know the math, we don't know the calculations, we don't know the probabilities, and all of that. So this is just the re-emergence of the first philosophy, which will come again and reign on this earth, because it's the best philosophy. If we actually lived with Ubuntu, if you can just imagine, what would the problem be? Like, there would be peace everywhere, there would be goodness everywhere, because you become a human, you become you through other humans. So goodness to all humanity is the philosophy, and that's the most scientific, philosophic, that's the most mathematical way to live, because at the end of the day, you see that you will multiply, you will be fruitful. Be fruitful and multiply. Multiplication, that's mathematics. That's the first law, the only commandment for that matter, because you can't be fruitful, you can't multiply if you're coveting. You can't be fruitful, you can't multiply if you're not respecting your parents and things like that. So all of that comes through the mathematics of multiplication, the mathematics of fruitfulness, the mathematics of Ubuntu. And that's the first philosophy, the only philosophy. But then we've just started reasoning more and more, and then we lost the path. But we have to find the narrow path, and that path is actually a mathematical path. And you can look into the other videos about mathematics. You can look into other books that I have. Some of them are free, some of them are not, but they all have different facets of the principle of Ubuntu expressed in different ways. So mastering Ubuntu like will give you mastery over literally anything.